Any other questions or comments at this point? We have reached the portion of our meeting where we solicit public comment. Again, if you are a member of the public, you may comment on anything that was on the agenda or that was discussed by members of the board or a consultant this evening. You have public comment. We ask that you identify yourself for the record. Is there any public comment this evening?
I have public comment. Stephanie Hawkins, I'm a trustee on the village board. Many of you here know me. A couple people who couldn't be here this evening asked me to bring...
Sorry, I can't hear you.
A couple people who couldn't be here this evening asked me to bring some questions to you.
Excuse me?
And
Excuse me. Public comment is just that, public comment. You may
well, that's interesting. Now, Karn attended the October 21st. Let me finish.
You may read.
October 21st.
You may read a statement.
You'll let me finish, Barney.
You may read a statement.
Karn Dunn attended the October 21st Village Board workshop. It was a Tuesday. You were not present, and it was a meeting at which we discussed the question of confusion that 4 out of 5 planning board members expressed in September.
Except for the fact of the matter is, that's not public comment about anything that was on the agenda or discussed here this evening.
This evening, Arnie Sari raised the point that the footprints of the concept plan were a question to be addressed. That came up in discussion, and that's what this is about.
And a majority of the board, the minutes were amended to reflect that.
I'm going to proceed with the comments that were
You may make a
given to me.
comment.
So, on September 17th, Karn Dunn and Ann Pelisseri and James Pergamo and Arnie Sari all said that they were told that they could address the mass and scale of the development that they wanted to reduce at site plan review. And this is a matter of public record. This was reported in phillipstown.info. A question for all of you, and but perhaps Chuck can answer this question because he's the paid professional here. If we accept the consistent recollection of these 4 planning board members, why would Chuck or Anna or Barney ever have advised them that on a conditional zoning change such as that you were reviewing during seeker, why would they ever have been advised that they could go back and reduce the mass and scale during site plan review when we know that the proposed law as drafted removed that possibility? And second, what was the purpose of completing a seeker review at great expense to the developer, issuing a negative declaration that publicly informed the developer he could build without impact, and then sending a memo to raise the mass and scale issue with, among other things, as part of an environmental impact to be concerned about. During seeker, then trustee Matt Francisco, who was the liaison to the planning board, asked the planning board if, along with this memo of recommendations, you would be including alternate concept plans. And when he asked that question, he said that Barney Malloy refused to answer, quite similar to this evening. So those are questions that Matt Francisco asked me to bring to you. Another resident asked me to bring questions that, on consideration of the role of the chair in the seeker process, and the fact that questions like that were refused, and the fact that 4 out of 5 planning board members were surprised and frustrated to learn that they apparently misunderstood what it was that they were issuing a negative deck on. This resident asks, or remarks that the planning board chair appears to be working for an out-of-town developer instead of the village, and that this is a problem that deserves scrutiny. And he also asks the question, and it's a question for the village board also, is when there is an appearance of a breach of client confidentiality by an attorney, and he's not saying that a bona fide breach did occur, but certainly he says that there's an appearance of a breach. This is related to the letter that was shared with you, but then also shared with the PCNR, the letter from Anna Giorgio. he suggests that, he asks if there's a reason the village would not refer this matter to the New York State Court Disciplinary Authority. And that's Evan Hudson. He's a resident of High Street. And my own question, and this is for you this evening, Chuck. Why would you have led the planning board to issue a negative declaration knowing full well that the adopted law would render mass and scale the issue that our planning board repeatedly raised during seeker as a concern of theirs? They would place mass and scale beyond their authority. And so those are my questions. And it would be great if somebody would like to answer them.
Is there any other public comment? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Or not?
Would
there a
anybody
motion?
like to offer some contributions to the discussion about this?
We have to
Because
adjourn the
it is
meeting.
it is a problem.
Hmm?
You seem reticent to adjourn. You seem reticent to speak publicly about, when asked. It's a huge issue here.
We're in the middle of site plan review, right? We will continue with site plan review, as is our obligation under the law of New York State, right? Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting for this evening? Public comment is concluded. Okay, well, we can just sit here then.
Do we want to talk about what she brought up?
First of all, we have a standing practice of public comment, right? There are other boards in the village that don't even permit public comment, right?
I asked the question though, do we want to discuss what she brought up? You're saying no?
If you want to discuss what she brought up, you adjourn the meeting first. You're free to stay here, have any conversation with whomever you want, but it is not an agenda item. It is not a matter of business before us this evening.
There's no requirement that you adjourn the
That's been our
meeting before
consistent process.
discussing this. This is a matter of the board.
This is
This is a
also
matter
not,
of the
this is also
village.
not a village board meeting where we're just going to deviate from an agenda, deviate from what is the matter before us, right? This is planning board.
That's
is not-
that's clear.
Yes, it's clear. Yes, it's clear. We
So-
have a specific charge, we have a specific application that we are required to follow a specific process on. The fact of the matter is, if there are members of the public who either do not understand, do not share in our desire to
You needn't
execute our
patronize
function.
me. I understand what you're trying to do here. If your
Stephanie, if I
board,
was needing, if I
your
was
board
attempting to
would like to
patronize you,
discuss,
it would be clear.
I'd be happy to hear.
Any
what
members of the board
what
may
other members have to
remain
say.
to discuss with Stephanie Hawkins whatever they so choose, but our meeting in terms of our agenda and our business has been concluded. I would like a motion to conclude.
I move that we adjourn and continue that discussion
May I
at
have a
some other
second?
time.
Is there a second? All in favor? Any opposed?
Opposed?
4-1. Thank you. Meeting is concluded. Our next meeting is the 19th.
I'll give you a call.
We cannot- Yeah, do it at the next meeting on the 19th. We have our minutes tomorrow. That's the appropriate time. Do we have the minutes?